Olivia, you look stunning, Sophie squealed, tugging gently at my veil. I laughed, though my stomach fluttered nervously. Thanks, Soph. I can't believe today's finally here. You're going to be the most beautiful bride anyone's ever seen, my mom said, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face. Ethan is a lucky man. Her words should have warmed me, but a tiny, uneasy knot twisted in my chest. I tried to push it away. He'll be here any minute, he promised. Sophie gave me a knowing look. Olivia, he better be. You've been dreaming about this day forever. I smiled, but my mind wandered back to yesterday, the way Ethan held my hand, whispered that everything would be perfect. I had believed him. The church doors loomed ahead. My dad whispered, "Ready, sweetheart?" "As ready as I'll ever be," I said, my voice trembling with excitement and nerves. The music started. I took a deep breath, imagining Ethan at the altar, his eyes searching for me. But then panic. The aisle was empty. "Where is he?" I whispered, more to myself than anyone. My heart raced. My mother's hand squeezed mine. "Maybe he's just running late. Take a deep breath, Olivia." I shook my head. No, he said he'd be here. He promised. Sophie's grip on my arm tightened. "Let's call him. He has to be here." I fumbled for my phone, dialing Ethan's number with shaky fingers.
Ring, ring, ring.
Straight to voicemail. My stomach sank. "What do you mean he's not answering?" Mom said, her voice rising. "He can't just..." I covered my face. "He's not coming." The words slipped out before I could stop them, and the room fell silent. Sophie gasped. My mom's hand froze on my shoulder, and my dad's jaw clenched. "How, why?" I whispered. My voice broke. "He can't just leave me here. On our wedding day." Sophie crouched beside me. "Olivia, listen, I know it hurts, but it's not your fault. You did everything right." I shook my head violently. I loved him, Sophie. I trusted him with everything. And he left. Tears burned my eyes as I sank into the nearest chair. My mom sat beside me, wrapping her arms around me. "Sweetheart, sometimes people make terrible choices. This says nothing about you. You're still the amazing woman he was lucky to know." I buried my face in her shoulder. I replayed everything, every smile, every promise. Did I misread him? Was I blind? Sophie's voice was soft but firm. "No, Olivia. He made the mistake. Not you. You loved him honestly. That's more than most can do." I felt a sharp ache, a mixture of disbelief, anger, and heartbreak twisting inside me. My wedding, the day I thought would define my happiness, had become a nightmare. I can't believe this is happening," I whispered, shaking. Sophie held my hand, squeezing it. "You're not alone. We'll get through this. I promise. One step at a time." I nodded, though I knew my life had just shifted in ways I couldn't yet understand. Ethan was gone, and the perfect day I had dreamed about shattered. "Are you sure you want to see him?" Sophie asked, her voice cautious as we walked down the street. I clenched my hands around my coffee cup. "I don't want to, sophomore. But I can't pretend he never existed either." She frowned. "Olivia, he left you at the altar. That's not something you can fix by watching him date someone else." I felt my chest tighten. "I know, but I keep seeing him everywhere. And now, apparently, he's with her." Sophie let out a long sigh. "Well, at least you'll know it's over for real. You can't live in that in-between forever." I guess I trailed off, but the thought made my stomach churn. I had loved him with everything I had. Every word, every promise, every laugh. They were all lies now, weren't they? "Hey, Olivia." A familiar voice interrupted my spiraling thoughts. I froze. I looked up.
Ethan.
Standing across the street, holding hands with a woman I didn't recognize. She was smiling at him, leaning into him like she owned a piece of my life. "Who's she?" I muttered under my breath. Sophie squeezed my arm. "Does it matter?" "It does. She's with him. She's everything I thought I had." I hissed, fists tightening around the cup. Ethan glanced up and caught my eye. His smile faltered. He opened his mouth, but the words never came. I looked away, refusing to give him the satisfaction. Olivia, breathe, Sophie said firmly. You survived worse than this. You'll survive him. I clenched my jaw. I don't want to survive him, sophomore. I want to erase him. I want him to feel even a fraction of the heartbreak he gave me. Her expression softened. And you will, but first you have to reclaim yourself. Right now, you're letting him steal your days. I nodded, though my heart still ached. It's hard. Every corner reminds me of him. Every song, every restaurant, everything. He's everywhere, sophomore. And yet he isn't here with you, she said pointedly. That's your victory, Olivia. You're alive. You're still breathing. You're still you. Don't waste it on him. I swallowed hard, trying to hold back the tears threatening to spill. I keep thinking about the promises he made, the life we were supposed to have. I thought we were going to grow old together. And now he's moving on like it was nothing. Sophie shook her head. It wasn't nothing to you. And that's what matters. You decide what comes next, not him. You decide how strong you are. I let out a bitter laugh. Strong? I feel broken, sophomore. Every morning I wake up and remember he walked away. Every night, I cry myself to sleep.
She squeezed my hand again.
Broken isn't forever. You've got to start small, your career, your friends, your dreams. He doesn't get to hold you hostage anymore. I exhaled slowly, trying to steady my shaking hands. You're right. I can't let him control me anymore, not my thoughts, not my days. I need to focus on myself, even if it hurts like hell. Sophie smiled, proud but serious. That's my girl. You're going to come out of this stronger, smarter, and happier. And maybe one day, he'll realize what he lost. I let the thought linger in the back of my mind, both bitter and comforting. One day, maybe, but for now, I start with me. Sophie nodded, linking her arm with mine.
Exactly.
Step by step, Olivia. Step by step. And as we walked away, the image of Ethan with her burned behind my eyelids, but I held on to the promise I made to myself. I wouldn't let him ruin my life any longer. Olivia Harper? A deep voice called across the office lobby. I looked up from my folder, startled. Yes, that's me, I said, standing a little straighter. I'm Adrian Blake, your new manager. Welcome to the team. His handshake was firm, his eyes sharp but not unkind. I've heard good things about you. I blinked, surprised.
Thank you, sir.
I'll do my best. He smiled slightly. I don't want your best. I want your potential. Show me what you're capable of, and I'll make sure it doesn't go unnoticed. My heart skipped. Flattery? Confidence? Something in his tone made me feel seen. I appreciate that. I'll work hard. You'll need to, he said, turning to leave, then glanced back. And Olivia? Yes, I asked, unsure. Don't be afraid to speak up. Ideas matter more than hierarchy here. His smile lingered, and then he was gone, leaving a strange flutter in my chest. Later, I met Maya Bennett at my desk. So, that's Adrian Blake, huh? She whispered, leaning close. Yes, I admitted, my fingers tightening around my pen. He's different. He actually seems to care about what I think. Maya chuckled. Careful, Olivia. That kind of attention can be tricky. But maybe it's exactly what you need right now. I nodded, unsure if I was ready to admit it to anyone else. I feel alive again. Like maybe there's a life beyond everything. My voice faltered at the thought of Ethan. Maya patted my hand. Good. You deserve to feel that. Just remember, he doesn't get a say in your life anymore. By lunchtime, Adrian stopped by my desk again. How's your first day going? He asked casually, but there was an intensity in his eyes that made me aware of every word I chose. Good. Busy but good, I said, trying not to sound flustered. Busy is fine. Just make sure you're challenged. Don't settle for busy work. Push yourself. I swallowed. I will. Thank you, sir. I mean, Adrian. He smiled faintly. Call me Adrian. We're going to do great things together, Olivia. I nodded, feeling a thrill I hadn't felt in months. Work, a world where I mattered for my own skills, not my heartbreak, seemed possible. Then my phone buzzed. A notification. Ethan had posted a photo on social media. Him, smiling, arms around someone new. My chest tightened, the bitter sting I'd tried to suppress resurfacing. Maya noticed my sudden tension. Everything okay? I shook my head. It's
Ethan.
just seeing him again. Ignore it. Focus on what's real, not him. He's already behind in your story, she said firmly. I breathed in, trying to steady myself. You're right. It's just hard. Every little reminder feels like a punch. Maya smiled softly. Then let's redirect that energy. This job. Adrian, this is your second chance. Don't waste it thinking about him. I nodded again, forcing my attention back to the stack of documents in front of me. Slowly, the ache in my chest dulled. For the first time in weeks, I realized maybe life could move forward without Ethan. Adrian returned briefly in the afternoon. Olivia, I like your approach on the Henderson project. Keep pushing boundaries. You're on the right path. I looked up, meeting his eyes. Thank you, Adrian. I won't let you down. You won't, he said, a quiet confidence in his tone. And for the first time, I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe I could thrive again, maybe even beyond what I thought possible. Olivia, did you finish the Henderson report? Claire Dawson's voice cut across the office, sharp and calculating. I did, I said calmly, sliding the folder across my desk. It's ready for review. She arched an eyebrow. Interesting. I heard there were some mistakes in the numbers. Careless, don't you think? I looked up, meeting her eyes steadily. I double-checked everything, Claire. If there's an error, I'd appreciate you pointing it out specifically instead of spreading rumors.
She scoffed.
I just don't want anything slipping through the cracks. Wouldn't want our project to look bad. Nor would I said evenly, refusing to rise to her bait. But the facts speak for themselves. She hesitated, then muttered, Fine, we'll see. She walked away, but I felt a quiet surge of triumph. I wasn't letting her intimidate me. Maya leaned over my desk. Nicely done. You handled her without raising your voice or losing control. I'm impressed. Thanks, I murmured, still watching Claire retreat. It's exhausting, though. Every step I take, she's there, trying to trip me up. Good. That means you're doing something right. People only try to tear you down when you're a threat. I let that sink in. For the first time, I realized the truth of her words. I wasn't just surviving. My work mattered, and that visibility made me dangerous to the likes of Claire. Later, during a team meeting, Adrian called on me unexpectedly. Olivia, your strategy for the Henderson client. Can you walk us through it? I took a deep breath and presented my plan clearly, fielding questions from colleagues. The room responded with nods, and I caught Adrian's approving glance. Excellent work, Olivia. That's exactly the kind of initiative we need, he said after the meeting. I felt a small thrill, a warm pride spreading through me. Thank you, Adrian. I'm glad it met expectations. As the week went on, I noticed subtle shifts. Ethan's name popped up occasionally in office chatter. His career moves mediocre compared to the ambitious projects I was landing. I tried not to dwell on it, but the knowledge brought a small, almost guilty satisfaction. Have you heard? Maya whispered over lunch. Ethan's been reassigned. Looks like his big promotion fell through. I forced a neutral expression. I see, that's unfortunate. Inside, a spark of vindication flickered. Not satisfaction, just acknowledgement that life moves on. Karma, in motion perhaps.
But I didn't dwell.
I had work to focus on. I couldn't let myself be distracted by him or Claire's petty schemes. I reminded myself of my goals. Skill, recognition, and respect. That focus fueled a new energy. Olivia, could you take a look at this proposal? Adrian asked later that afternoon. Of course, I said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Let's see how we can strengthen it. As we reviewed the proposal together, he asked questions, challenged assumptions, and listened to my suggestions. I realized this was more than mentorship, it was a partnership. I could grow here, beyond heartbreak and betrayal, into someone I respected. By the time I left the office, I felt a strange calm, like I was reclaiming a part of myself that Ethan's absence had left behind. Maya caught up with me outside. You handled Claire well today. And Adrian's impressed. You're turning the tables without even realizing it. I smiled faintly, the tension in my chest easing. It's about more than him, more than heartbreak. It's about proving I'm still me. I'm still strong. She nodded.
Exactly.
And the best part? You don't have to hurt anyone to win. Just keep showing up. Keep being better. I breathed deeply, letting the words settle. For the first time in months, I felt alive in my own skin again, ready to face the subtle games life, or Ethan, threw at me. The gala halls sparkled with chandeliers, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. I adjusted my dress and took a slow breath. Okay, Olivia, you've got this. Just enjoy tonight. Maya nudged me. You look incredible. Breathe, smile, and own the room. I nodded, scanning the crowd. That's when I saw him, Ethan. My chest tightened, but I forced my shoulders back. He hadn't noticed me yet, and I intended to keep it that way. He froze mid-conversation, his eyes locking onto mine. I caught the flicker of recognition, and something else. Something I hadn't seen before, surprise. Then hesitation. I heard Maya whisper, "Ignore him. He doesn't get this reaction from you anymore." I smiled faintly, letting my confidence ripple through my posture. I approached the hors d'oeuvres quietly, pretending not to notice him. But Ethan stepped forward. "Olivia," his voice caught unsure. "I didn't expect to see you here." I turned slowly, my smile polite but controlled.
Ethan.
"It's been a while." He swallowed.
Yes, it has.
"You look amazing." "Thank you," I said, glancing briefly at his sharp suit and carefully styled hair. "You look well." My tone was neutral, calm, not offering any openings. Ethan shifted, glancing at the crowd, then back at me. I should apologize. For everything. That day. I was a fool." I took a measured breath, letting the words hang in the air. "Ethan, I don't think apologies change much anymore. You made your choice." "I know. He paused, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't realize what I had." I lost you." I held his gaze evenly. "You did. And that's on you." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Olivia, please can we talk? Just for a minute? I want to explain." I shook my head slowly, taking a step back. "There's nothing to explain." I moved on. "You made your decisions and I made mine. That's the difference now." Ethan's jaw tightened. I could see the frustration, the envy even, lurking beneath his charm. You've changed. You're different. Confident and thriving." I let a small, controlled smile appear. "I had to. Losing you forced me to face myself. I'm stronger now. And I don't need you to validate that." He looked as if someone had punched him. I never meant." "Ethan," I said firmly, "I'm not the girl you can hurt anymore. That version of me is gone." He stared, swallowing hard, struggling to find words. I noticed the subtle shift in power, the fear that maybe he'd underestimated me. That realization alone gave me a quiet satisfaction. I see that," he said finally, voice low. "You really are different." I nodded.
Yes.
"And I hope one day you understand that actions have consequences. I won't waste another minute wishing for something I can't have." He hesitated, his mouth opening and closing, but no words came. I turned gracefully, allowing my dress to flow as I walked away, Maya following. Maya whispered, "Wow, you handled that perfectly." Look at him, utterly speechless. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension release. I have to remember this feeling. I am not the same woman who waited for him at the altar. I am my own person now. And as I stepped back into the glittering crowd, I felt it. The power had shifted. For the first time, I realized I didn't need to fight him. Life was mine to claim, and I was no longer his to ruin. That I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee as Maya peered over my shoulder. Olivia, you're killing it. Adrian's impressed. The Henderson account is thriving. You're unstoppable. I forced a small smile. It's strange. I feel alive in my work, but every now and then, I think of him, Ethan, and it stings. Maya frowned. Do you want me to be honest? I nodded, wary. Always. You have a chance to let life handle him. You don't need to rush. But if you do decide to be subtle, poise over drama, he's the one who abandoned you. The world will notice when he falters. Sophie's text buzzed on my phone. Olivia, coffee later? Need to talk strategy. I smirked, typing back. Meet you in 10. At the cafe, Sophie didn't waste time. So, you've been keeping tabs, haven't you? Not exactly. But I know he's floundering at work. Missed deadlines, small errors, nothing serious but noticeable. It's ironic. I stared out the window, imagining him fumbling through meetings. I should feel guilty, right? Sophie shook her head. You shouldn't. You're thriving, he's not. That's life. If you want revenge, let it be quiet, natural, not explosive. I leaned forward. I'm torn. Part of me wants to gloat, send a subtle message. But another part wants closure, just to see him understand what he lost. Sophie's expression softened. Closure doesn't always need confrontation. Sometimes the best revenge is your life. Show him you've moved on, that you're thriving. That will sting far more than yelling or exposing him. I bit my lip, thinking. So, I show strength, not bitterness. But do I let him think I care? Or completely ignore him? Balance, Maya interjected, sliding into the conversation. He needs to see your glow without the anger. Let him notice your achievements without you announcing them. Let karma do the heavy lifting. I nodded slowly, a plan forming in my mind. Poise, success, dignity, subtle power moves. I can do that. I will do that. Later that week, I noticed Ethan's name come up during a client call. He'd messed up a presentation. I fought the urge to smirk, instead maintaining a calm, professional tone. Noted. Perhaps next time, double-check the figures. It's easy to miss small details. Ethan's face flushed slightly, though I was careful not to look triumphant. My satisfaction was quiet, internal. The sting of his errors contrasted sharply with my own progress. Sophie caught up with me after work. You handled that beautifully. I saw him flinch. Not because you insulted him, but because he realized you've moved on and grown stronger. I exhaled slowly, leaning against the railing outside. It's strange. I want to gloat, but I don't. I want him to feel something. But mostly, I want him to understand that I don't need him to be happy. I create my own happiness. Maya nodded. Exactly. Let life show him the consequences of his choices. You don't need to force it. Every success you earn is another reminder of what he walked away from. I smiled faintly, a quiet fire igniting inside me. Poise, dignity, strategy, subtle power. I can do this. I won't be rash. I'll let life do the work, and I'll be ready when it does. Sophie grinned. That's my girl. The world's about to notice the Olivia who doesn't rely on anyone, especially him. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of weeks of heartbreak finally turning into purpose. It's time. Time to let the seeds grow, quietly, without him realizing I planted them. And for the first time in months, I felt a strange satisfaction. Not revenge in its messy form, but control, dignity, and a quiet, undeniable strength. Ethan might not realize it yet, but I knew one day life would remind him exactly what he lost. Olivia, congratulations. Adrian's voice came over the office intercom. Effective immediately, you're promoted to senior project lead. Your leadership on Henderson was exemplary. I blinked, stunned, then felt a rush of warmth and pride.
Thank you, Adrian.
I won't let you down. You already haven't, he said, smiling. This is well-deserved. Maya leaned over my desk, whispering, see? Hard work pays off. You're unstoppable. I grinned, feeling the confidence pulse through me. Feels good, finally. Like I'm taking control of my life again. Later, in the break room, Sophie joined me with a cup of coffee. I heard the news. You got the promotion? That's huge. I nodded, trying to contain my excitement. It is. And it feels like the universe is finally giving me something that belongs to me, not him. Sophie arched an eyebrow. Speaking of him, he heard yet? I shook my head. Not officially. But I ran into Ethan at the office last week. He noticed the shift in me. I think this promotion will really shake him. Sophie grinned. Oh, it will. Especially now that he's realizing you're moving on in more ways than one. I bit my lip, a small smile tugging at my lips. Yes, about that. Adrian and I were engaged. Not public yet, but close colleagues know. The timing, it's perfect. Sophie whistled. Olivia Harper, climbing the corporate ladder and capturing the heart of the boss. That's poetic justice, my friend. I chuckled, but deep down, I felt the quiet satisfaction settle in. I had been left at the altar, humiliated and heartbroken. Now I had my career, my confidence, and someone who respected me completely. Later that afternoon, Ethan appeared outside my office unexpectedly. My chest tightened for a moment, but I straightened, adjusting my blazer. Olivia, he said, voice tense, attempting casual. I heard about the promotion. Congratulations, I guess. Thank you, Ethan, I said smoothly, maintaining eye contact. It's been a busy few months. He shifted uncomfortably. I also heard about you and Adrian. His words faltered. Engaged, right? I nodded slowly. Yes. We're happy. Ethan's jaw tightened. I didn't expect you. I thought. I raised a hand gently. You don't need to understand, Ethan. I've moved forward. I've chosen a path that's mine, not dependent on anyone who walks away. He opened his mouth, then closed it. The subtle envy, the realization of loss, flickered in his eyes. I felt a quiet triumph, not cruelty, just acknowledgement of the power shift. You look confident, he finally muttered. I am, I said calmly. Confident, fulfilled, and in control. That's not something anyone can take from me, not even you. He swallowed hard, nodding, defeated. I see that now. I gave him a small, polite smile. Good. I hope you remember this. Life gives second chances, just not to everyone. As Ethan walked away, I exhaled slowly, the tension in my chest melting into exhilaration. My success, my engagement, my dignity, it was all mine. Maya popped her head in my office. So, you okay? I leaned back in my chair, a grin spreading across my face. More than okay. I'm thriving, Maya. For the first time, I feel untouchable. The power has shifted, and I can finally breathe. Maya smiled knowingly. And just think, this is only the beginning. I gazed out the window, the city lights reflecting my renewed confidence. No more heartbreak. No more waiting for validation. I was in control, and the world, especially Ethan, was about to notice. Olivia, can we talk? Ethan's voice trembled slightly as he approached me outside the office conference room. His eyes searched mine, desperate for something I wasn't sure I wanted to give. I crossed my arms, my posture firm. We can. But I warn you, I have nothing to sugarcoat. He swallowed hard, glancing around nervously. I just need to understand. Why? Why that day? Why, everything? I let out a slow breath, steadying myself. You know why. You walked away. You didn't love me enough to stay. And I trusted you. Every word, every promise, it was all a lie. I was scared, he admitted, his voice breaking. I thought I was protecting myself. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to hurt me? I repeated sharply, disbelief cutting through me. Do you know what that feels like? Standing at the altar, heart in your hands, and realizing the person you trusted most chose someone else over you. His eyes filled with something like shame. I realize now how selfish I was. I I shook my head.
No. Don't say it.
Don't excuse yourself. You made a choice, Ethan. And that choice destroyed me. It's not about your fear. It's about what you did.
Do you understand that?
He hesitated, his pride faltering. I see that now. And I regret it. Every day. Regret doesn't fix anything, I said, my voice steady. Regret doesn't give back the nights I cried, the humiliation I endured, the plans we made that you tore apart. You lost the right to my forgiveness the moment you left me. He flinched, like my words physically hit him. Olivia. I held up a hand, stopping him.
No, Ethan.
Listen to me. Look at me. I am no longer the girl who waited for you. I am the woman who reclaimed her life, her confidence, and her happiness. I thrive without you. I don't need your validation. I don't need your approval. I don't even need your apology. His face went pale, pride cracking. You're different. Stronger. I didn't expect this. I let a faint, controlled smile touch my lips. You should have expected it. This strength, this life I built, it's mine. And you're just a memory of what I survived. Ethan's jaw clenched. He opened his mouth, searching for words that wouldn't come. I could see the cracks forming in his charm, his confidence, the shield he always wore. It was gone. Adrian appeared quietly at my side, standing just behind me. Not intruding, but a silent pillar of support. Ethan glanced at him briefly, and I could see the unease ripple through him. Adrian didn't need to say a word. His presence alone spoke volumes. I inhaled slowly. You might think you still hold power over me. You don't. You never did. Your pride, your charm, even your apologies, they mean nothing now. I survived you. I thrived beyond you. And that's all the closure I need. Ethan's voice was small, almost a whisper. I see that. I see what I lost. And it's too late, I said firmly. You had your chance. You wasted it. Don't make the mistake of thinking I'm still the girl who waits. I'm done. Completely. He took a step back, swallowing hard. I didn't realize. I gave him one last glance, composed and unshaken. Go. Learn from this if you can. But don't ever try to manipulate me with regret. That's not my story anymore. As he walked away, shoulders heavy, eyes downcast, I felt a wave of quiet triumph. The power had shifted. He had no hold over me, and for the first time, I truly understood the depth of my strength. Adrian reached my side, his hand brushing mine lightly. You handled that beautifully. I exhaled slowly, a small smile forming. I didn't need to fight. I just had to stand. And in that moment, I knew I had won. Not with cruelty, but with dignity, composure, and unshakable strength. I adjusted the train of my gown one last time and took a slow breath. Okay, Olivia, today is about you. You've worked for this moment. Maya squeezed my hand. You look incredible, ready to show everyone, especially him, how far you've come. I smiled faintly, feeling the flutter of nerves mixed with excitement. I am. This isn't about him anymore, though, is it? It's about us. Adrian, us. The life I chose. Exactly, she said, beaming. Now let's go make it official. The church was filled with familiar faces. Friends, family, colleagues, and him. I noticed Ethan the moment I walked in. He froze, eyes widening ever so slightly. The man who left me trembling at the altar years ago now seemed small, vulnerable in the face of my confidence. I ignored the flicker of old pain and focused on Adrian, standing tall at the altar. You look amazing, he whispered when I reached him. And you look perfect, I replied, smiling softly. His calm, steady presence grounded me in a way no one ever had, especially not Ethan. The ceremony began. Vows exchanged, rings placed, promises made. Each word I spoke was intentional, carrying the weight of every hardship I had survived. I promise to love, respect, and grow with you. To be your partner in every sense of the word. Adrian's voice was steady, sincere. I promise the same. To support, cherish, and celebrate you always. As we exchanged our first kiss as husband and wife, I glimpsed Ethan in the front row. His jaw was tight, his hands gripping the pew as if holding himself together. The subtle tremor in his fingers told me everything: regret, realization, envy. Maya nudged me softly. Look at him. He knows what he lost. I took a slow breath, feeling no pity. None of it mattered anymore. The hurt, the betrayal, they belonged to the past. I see it, I whispered. And it doesn't touch me. After the ceremony, at the reception, I floated through congratulations and laughter. Colleagues praised my poise, friends complimented my grace.
And Ethan?
He lingered near the edges, watching from a distance, careful not to approach. I noticed the subtle signs, his eyes darting, the tightness in his jaw, the faint flush of embarrassment. Adrian leaned close. You're radiant, he said quietly. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us, I replied. For everything we've built. For the life we chose. Ethan cleared his throat behind me, voice low. Olivia? I turned slowly, holding his gaze evenly.
Ethan, this isn't for you.
I've moved on. You can watch, yes, but you don't get to be part of this. Not today. Not ever again. He nodded stiffly, swallowing hard. I understand. I gave a faint, polite smile and turned back to Adrian, letting the music, laughter, and joy fill the space around me. The man who once held my heart now only held a place in my memory. Maya leaned close as we danced later. You did it, Olivia. You've truly risen above. I nodded, spinning gracefully. It feels freeing, beautiful, like I'm finally the woman I was meant to be, whole, unshakable, and fully alive. And in that moment, as Adrian held me close, I knew it was over. The chaos Ethan left behind had been replaced with joy, love, and strength. My wedding wasn't just a celebration of marriage. It was the proof of my growth, my independence, and the ultimate closure I never needed from him. Ethan watched, silent, and I smiled gently to myself. Karma hadn't needed my help. Life had spoken. Mornings were quiet now, filled with the hum of ambition rather than heartbreak. Adrian greeted me with a warm smile as I walked into the office. Good morning, Olivia. Big week ahead. Are you ready? I am, I said confidently. Let's make it count. You always do, he replied, a subtle pride in his tone. At my desk, Maya dropped by, coffee in hand. So, how's life post-wedding? Still glowing. I laughed softly. You could say that. Everything feels balanced, focused. I wake up knowing I'm living my life, not anyone else's story. Maya grinned.
Exactly.
And your career? You're unstoppable. I feel unstoppable, I admitted. Finally, it's about what I achieve, not who I left behind. My energy goes into growth, not grief. Later that afternoon, an email notification popped up, Ethan. My chest tightened for a fraction of a second, then I exhaled slowly. I opened it carefully. Olivia, can we talk? I owe you an explanation. I made a mistake. Please. I read it twice, then smiled faintly, setting my phone aside. Adrian noticed my expression. Everything okay? Yes, I said calmly. It's old news trying to reach me. Some people are meant to watch from a distance, not participate. He raised an eyebrow. And that's your reply? Silence, I said simply. It's the ultimate response. No words, no apologies, just moving on and thriving. Maya peeked over my shoulder, curious.
Wow.
That's powerful. You're really over him. I am, I confirmed. Composure is more satisfying than confrontation. I don't need to remind him what he lost. My life does that silently. The next day, during a meeting, Adrian called on me to present our quarterly strategy. I stood confidently, projecting ideas, handling questions, and guiding the team with ease. Colleagues nodded, impressed, and Adrian's approving glance reminded me that recognition now came from those who mattered. Afterward, Maya nudged me.
See?
The silent victories are sweeter than drama. He'll hear about your success eventually, whether he wants to or not. I smiled.
Exactly.
Let him watch. That's all he gets. I don't need to explain, justify, or confront. Life speaks louder than words. Evenings were my favorite. Adrian and I would unwind at home, discussing our goals, our plans, and dreams we shared. It's strange, I said one night, resting my head on his shoulder. I never thought happiness could feel this complete. It's yours, he said softly. You earned it. Every step, every struggle led here. You're thriving, Olivia. That's the real victory. I closed my eyes, letting the weight of the past lift.
Yes.
Thriving. And silently reminding the world, including him, that I survived, I grew, and I conquered every doubt placed on me. Weeks later, I noticed Ethan at a professional conference. He glanced my way, eyes widening briefly, and I saw the familiar pang of regret. But I kept walking, focused on the room, on opportunities, on my life. He was a spectator now, and I felt no need to engage. Adrian whispered, "Looks like some things never change." I laughed quietly. Let him watch. Silent victory is sweeter than revenge. And as we moved forward, hand in hand, I understood fully. My life, my success, and my happiness were proof that the strongest power isn't in confrontation or anger. It's in thriving unapologetically while those who hurt you are forced to watch. I sank into the armchair by the window, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The golden light spilled across the room, and I felt peace. Real peace. Maya perched on the sofa, coffee in hand. You've come a long way, Olivia. From that broken girl at the altar to this woman who owns her life. I smiled softly, stirring my own drink. I never thought I'd see this day. I thought the heartbreak would define me forever. But it didn't. I grew. I survived. I thrived. Sophie leaned against the doorway, arms crossed but eyes warm. And you did it without losing yourself. That's the real victory. I nodded. It wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to scream at Ethan, confront him, make him feel what I felt. But I realized my power wasn't in revenge. It was in moving forward, in building a life he could only watch from afar. Maya grinned. And he's definitely watching. You've become untouchable, Olivia. Radiant. Independent. Completely unstoppable. I chuckled lightly, thinking of the years of doubt and pain. Unstoppable, that feels right. Every setback, every betrayal, it pushed me to be stronger, to claim my own happiness instead of waiting for anyone else to give it to me. Sophie's voice softened. And you've got Adrian, too. He's not just your partner in life, he's your partner in strength and growth. Someone who respects you completely. I glanced at Adrian, who was quietly organizing a few papers at the desk. He looked up, smiled, and came over, slipping his hand into mine. We've built something beautiful, he said simply. Your strength, it inspires me every day. And you inspire me, I replied, squeezing his hand. I never thought I'd feel this secure, this free. Free from the past, free from expectations, free to just be me. Adrian nodded. You've earned every moment of it. No one can take that away. I let my thoughts wander, reflecting on the journey. Ethan's betrayal had been a storm, but it didn't break me. It forced me to face my own strength, my own worth. I saw him occasionally, still trying to navigate life with the arrogance of the past, but now powerless to touch me. Karma had its way quietly, but unmistakably. Maya raised an eyebrow. You're smiling. Is it the peace, or the quiet satisfaction of watching life do the work for you? Both, I admitted. The peace is mine. The satisfaction, that's just life reminding him what he lost. And it feels right. Not cruel. Just fair. Sophie sat next to me, placing a hand on my shoulder. You've transformed, Olivia. You're not the woman he abandoned. You're someone stronger, wiser, untouchable. And you did it on your own terms. I took a deep breath, letting the warmth of their support fill me.
Yes.
I'm no longer defined by heartbreak or betrayal. I define myself. I've chosen love, loyalty, and growth. I've chosen life. Adrian kissed my forehead softly, and we'll continue choosing it together. Every day. I nodded, letting a contented smile settle on my face.
Yes.
Together, with people who matter, with people who respect and cherish me. That's what matters. Not the past. Not those who walked away. Only this life, this love, this strength. Maya grinned. And Ethan? I shook my head lightly. Ethan is a chapter, not the book. He's absent from my joy, and that absence is all the confirmation I need. Karma didn't need my help. It simply unfolded.
And
I've finally moved on, completely and unapologetically. Sophie raised her glass. To moving on. To thriving. To life fully ours. I clinked my cup with hers, my heart light, my spirit unshakable. To life, I said, softly but firmly. And as the sun set, bathing the room in gold, I felt the full weight of closure and freedom. I had survived heartbreak, embraced my power, and reclaimed my destiny. The woman who had once waited at the altar had evolved into someone unstoppable, untouchable, and completely at peace with herself.